On a quiet summer night in 1997, something happened that shocked the entire world and changed the history forever. The princess loved by millions around the globe, known as the People's Princess, died suddenly in a tragic car crash in the city of Paris. That princess was Princess Diana, one of the most influential and famous figures of the 20th century. But since that night, one question has continued to haunt people everywhere. Was her death simply a tragic accident? Or was there something darker behind it? Diana's story with the royal family began when she married the British prince, Prince Charles, in 1981, in a fairy tale wedding watched by hundreds of millions around the world. She was a shy young woman in her early 20s, but she quickly became one of the most famous women on the planet. People admired her humility and kindness, and she became known for her humanitarian work, visiting hospitals, supporting charities, and helping the poor. However, behind the glamorous public image, her life inside the royal family was filled with tension and difficulties, especially as Prince Charles maintained a long-standing relationship with Camilla Parker Bowles, something that eventually led to the collapse of their marriage. In 1996, Diana and Charles officially divorced, but Diana's popularity did not fade. In fact, she became even more admired and influential. The media followed her everywhere, and photographers constantly chased her for pictures. During the summer of 1997, Diana began a relationship with Egyptian businessman Dodi Fayed, the son of billionaire businessman Mohammed Al-Fayed. Their relationship immediately attracted enormous global media attention, and newspapers and magazines everywhere were filled with photos of the couple. At the end of August 1997, Diana was spending time in France with Dodi. On the night of August 30th, they were having dinner at the luxurious hotel Ritz Paris. Outside the hotel, however, dozens of paparazzi photographers were waiting, hoping to capture new pictures of the couple. Diana had been chased by paparazzi for years, but that night the pressure was even more intense. In an attempt to escape the photographers, Diana and Dodi decided to leave the hotel quietly through a rear entrance. They got into a Mercedes driven by Henri Paul, while a bodyguard sat in the front passenger seat. The car sped through the streets of Paris, trying to get away from photographers who were following them on motorcycles and in cars. Only a few minutes later, the vehicle entered a well-known tunnel in Paris called the Pont de l'Alma Tunnel. What happened inside that tunnel would soon become one of the most shocking moments in modern history. The car was traveling at high speed, when suddenly the driver lost control and crashed violently into a concrete pillar inside the tunnel. The impact was devastating, and the vehicle was almost completely destroyed. Dodi Fayed and the driver Henri Paul died at the scene. Princess Diana was still alive, but suffered extremely serious injuries. Emergency services quickly arrived and transported her to Pitié-Salpêtrière Hospital, where doctors fought for hours to save her life. Despite all their efforts, the medical team eventually announced heartbreaking news in the early hours of the morning. Princess Diana had died. The news spread across the world. Within minutes, millions of people were in shock and disbelief. Crowds gathered in London and in many other cities, mourning the loss of a woman who had touched so many lives. Outside Kensington Palace, thousands of flowers, letters, and tributes were left by grieving citizens. Her funeral, held at Westminster Abbey, was watched by more than 2.5 billion people worldwide, making it one of the most watched funerals in history. However, even as the world mourned, questions quickly began to emerge. Was this truly just a tragic car accident? Or was there something else behind the events of that night? Official investigations concluded that the main cause of the crash was the high speed of the vehicle, combined with the fact that the driver had alcohol in his system. Investigators also stated that the paparazzi chase may have added pressure that contributed to the accident. But not everyone accepted this explanation. Mohammed Al-Fayed, Dodi's father, strongly rejected the official version of events. For many years, he claimed that his son and Princess Diana had been deliberately killed. He argued that powerful figures were unhappy with Diana's relationship with his son, especially amid rumors at the time that the two might eventually marry. These claims helped fuel numerous conspiracy theories that spread across the world. Despite these suspicions, long investigations carried out in both France and the United Kingdom concluded that the crash was the result of a combination of high speed and the driver losing control while attempting to escape the paparazzi. Even so, many people continued to question the official explanation, believing that some details of that night were never fully clarified. More than 2 decades later, the name Princess Diana still remains powerful in the memory of the world. She is remembered as a princess who broke royal traditions, connected deeply with ordinary people, and dedicated herself to humanitarian causes. Yet, even after all these years, one haunting question still lingers. Was the death of Princess Diana simply a tragic accident in a dark tunnel in Paris? Or does the full truth of that night remain hidden to this day?